If your business is already using Microsoft and you want to give AI tools to all your staff, should you pay to upgrade for a Copilot license, or would it make more sense to look at ChatGPT Business? This is a question that a lot of businesses are grappling with, so I wanted to cover it on this show. Personally, I don't know the answer, but I knew someone who would, so I reached out to Inbal Rodnay. She's an AI implementation expert, and she's got a lot of experience helping businesses navigate this exact scenario. In this interview, we discussed the pros and cons of Microsoft Copilot and ChatGPT Business, so you understand the differences and how they work, as well as the relative costs of each solution. And she shares some of the common misconceptions, as well as a unknown secret that probably 90% of Microsoft users don't realize. And this is really something very valuable that you should be aware of. And it's possibly something that's changed since you last checked. So if this question of Copilot versus ChatGPT, should I be paying for Copilot? Which one should I be using? If that's something you're grappling with, stick around, and by the end of this episode, you're going to have all the information you need to make the right decision for your business. Let's get into it. Welcome to My Way or the AI Way. I'm Scott Davison, and my guest today is Inbal Rodnay. Inbal is an author, keynote speaker, and AI implementation specialist. Inbal's book is called AI Magic: 6 Steps to AI Mastery in Your Firm. And just last week, she was named the 2025 FinTech Leader of the Year at the Women in Finance Awards. So it's an honor to have Inbal on the show. Inbal, welcome back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, firstly, congratulations. It's been a busy year for you since we last spoke. You've had the book and now a couple of awards, and I've seen you traveling around the world presenting. You must be exhausted.
I'm still on the, fumes of excitement, a lot of adrenaline in my life these days. But yeah, just slowing down now towards the holidays.
Now, as I mentioned in the intro, I wanted to talk about this question of Microsoft Copilot versus ChatGPT. This is a question at least 2 of my clients are dealing with right now, and I'm sure they're not the only ones. Is this something many of your clients have had to navigate as well?
Yeah, and it's been shifting recently. So it's a really interesting space and a really good time to talk about this. And I hope I'm going to give you a really good gift today that you didn't know you already had. So
wow. That's something to look forward to. There you go. There's the hook for everyone to stick around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just let's start at a high level. What is Microsoft Copilot at a high level, and then what is ChatGPT Business, and how are they sort of different?
Right. So let's start with ChatGPT because people know it more, and then explain Microsoft Copilot.
Okay.
ChatGPT, we can use it in 3 ways, 3 plans. There are 3 options, 3 levels, and there's more bigger ones, but for most of us, there's the 3 options. There's the free one, which is awesome for planning your recipes and writing your birthday cards and doing all sorts of fun, but not for business. Professional use, we've got 2 options. We've got the Plus option, which is the $20 a month per user, and we've got the Business edition, which is the $30 a user a month. In terms of what they include, very similar. So really, if you're just getting one for yourself, get the Plus, because it has all the functions that the business has. Sometimes they release a capability and the business will get it a few days before, but really not more than a few days or weeks. So if it's just for you, get the Plus. If you're buying it for your business or you're buying it for your team, you're giving it to your team members, you want to go with the Business edition. And the reason for that is more security. So they're both enterprise grade security. Go and read policies, the privacy policy and everything on the OpenAI website. But in the, for example, a big difference is that in the Plus edition, you can choose whether you want or don't want to allow OpenAI to train on your chats. I've seen people who work in health and didn't know that it was turned on in their account. In the Business edition, you cannot opt in. So we're safe. None of your staff is going to accidentally have that option on. There's also limitations or guardrails against sharing information outside of the team. You can just share it inside the team. What apps you can link into your Chat GPT. So with the Plus, you can link anything you want. With the Business, the owner controls who can connect what. And so more security there. So you pay a bit more, but you get more peace of mind. Okay. So if you're opting for Chat GPT, for personal use, go Plus. For business, for your team, go Business.
Okay. And what size team makes sense? For anything more than 2 or 3, you're saying, would still make sense to go with Business?
Whenever I buy it for anyone other than myself, I buy the Business edition. So if I have one team member and I'm buying it for them, I will buy the Business edition. I'll pay another $10 a month, but I know that we're safe. For myself, I use the business edition as well. So I've got two. I've got a plus one for my personal use and a business one for my work. The only reason to do that for me is that I demo my account a lot online and share my screen. So my business one is where I don't mind sharing, and personal information goes in my personal. If you're buying it for anyone other than yourself, I'd go business. Even if you're buying it for yourself, I'm starting to think that maybe you should go business so you avoid what I saw a couple of weeks ago. A person in health who's using ChatGPT, using ChatGPT, asked me some questions and then was also concerned about security. And I said, "Can you show me your settings?" And it was turned on. She was in a Plus edition. So if you don't think that you're totally informed of all the options, just go business. It's the safe option.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
ChatGPT.
Yep.
Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot is only relevant if you're on the Microsoft platform. If you run your business on the Google platform with Gmail and Google Calendar, go Gemini. Go with the AI that's part of the environment you're working in, on the platform you're working in. If you run your business on a Microsoft environment, then Microsoft Copilot makes sense. And here's the gift I want to give you. Everyone on the Microsoft platform, are you running your business on the Microsoft platform, Scott?
No, I'm
No.
on Google.
Right. Everyone on the Microsoft platform has already got paid, secured access to Microsoft Copilot. They include it in the business license. Now there's another level up to after that. So I'll explain the two. So anyone who already has a Microsoft business license can open a browser and go into copilot.microsoft.com, and you have some sign-in options. You don't start using it because that's a guest. You want to log in. And when you log in, sign in with your business account, not a personal Microsoft account, your business account, you'll see a green shield up the top right of your browser. You click that and it will tell you that your data is protected by enterprise-grade protection. If you click that, it will take you through all the bullet points around they do not train on your data, how they protect your data, all the details are there. So read that. And I'm not giving you legal advice, but every person I've seen that's read that concluded that using Copilot when you're logged in with your Microsoft business account is as safe as the rest of your Microsoft environment. So I'm not saying totally safe because nothing is, but as safe as the rest of the Microsoft environment. It's just another tool so your data doesn't leave your tenancy. It's just another tool that looks at your data. So all of us on the Microsoft platform already have that. But
That's interesting because I think that's confusing to a lot of people. Certainly the clients I had who were looking into it concluded that they didn't have the full Copilot license included and they would have to pay extra.
Correct. So let's clarify that.
Yeah.
So in our Microsoft Business license, without buying anything additional for Copilot, we have that basic Copilot that I just mentioned. If we go to the browser, copilot.microsoft.com, log in with your business account, you're now using what's called Copilot Chat. And most people, every person I've seen that read the details, decided they can upload client and confidential information in there. It stays in your tenant. Also, when you open Excel or Word or PowerPoint or any Office app, and you're logged in with your business account, you'll start seeing your Copilot down there on the right as a panel. It's in the menu up the top. You click it, it comes that's relatively new. It was included in the extra license. Now it's included for all business users. So that's level one. What's included for all business users? Now we can go and purchase an extra Copilot for Microsoft 365 for 30 US a month, roughly 45 Australian, the same as the business edition of ChatGPT. With that one, we get two things. We get an extra connector into our Office environment, which means that in that chat the Copilot chat that I described, we can now ask, what did I work on today? What's outstanding in my email? All the files I touched yesterday. Find me every conversation I had with Scott. What's going on there? What did I promise him last time I met him? So it's a connector that automatically connects my Office environment, Outlook, email, Calendar, SharePoint, OneDrive, all my files, everything, into Microsoft Copilot. And so it has access to all my data. That's the extra connector. The second thing I get with that extra connector or extra license is I get more functionality. So if I open my Copilot chat in the browser, and imagine you were on the Microsoft platform and you opened your Copilot chat in the browser without buying the extra connector. I have the extra connector. You don't have the extra connector. I will have also additional functionality like the ability to create agents, the ability to create notebooks. There are all sorts of additional abilities. Deep research option right now is in the extra license, not in the basic license. These things change all the time. I get more. I get researcher, which is deep research. I get analyst, which is analyst. I get more than what you get with the basic. So to summarize that, because I use a lot of words here, level 1, any Microsoft business user, every Microsoft business user already has access to Copilot Chat in the browser, which gives you a secure AI environment where you can upload files, and has access to Copilot in the Office apps, Excel, Word, etc. Level 2, if we purchase the extra license for Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, we also have the connector, so the chat knows all our data, has access to all our data, and more advanced functionality like agents, deep research, etc. These are the 2 levels. What most people don't know is that first one. You already got that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That, as I say, I think that's a very common misconception. Is that a recent change? Was it not always that way, or has it always been that way? People just weren't aware that that was the case.
They do change all the time. For example, the Copilot in the Office apps was limited to the extra license, and now it's included for everyone. A few months ago, I don't know exactly when it changed. Microsoft tends to make their licensing very, very complex and
Yeah,
confusing. So
yeah. But I'm not surprised that this is the direction it's going, because obviously it's a very competitive landscape, and they're all trying to put more and
drive
more
adoption.
functionality in. But that's actually really good news for a lot of businesses,
It
because I
is.
imagine in a lot of scenarios, if you've got 10 or even 50 or 100 staff, and you're just wanting them to all have access to a safe AI tool to use effectively in a chatbot type way.
They've already
um,
just let them know, and most don't know.
yeah, the free version, or not the free version, but
They
the
included.
included version. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
rather than having to pay an extra license.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
and that additional license, when would that be required? Like, what sort of use cases would people need to be looking at to require an advanced license?
So what I would usually suggest is if you're a slightly larger business, so you're not a sole person, if you're alone, buy the license. I don't believe there's any business running in Australia that cannot afford another $45 a month to get access to all the AI functionality that you might want to develop your skills. So I wouldn't limit myself for $45 a month. I understand that when you have a team of 10 or 15 or 100, that becomes a lot of money. Most businesses of that size will usually have a pilot group they'll give them licenses. What I usually see is that they give it to the senior people, the partners, the managers, the leaders. I don't think that's the right thing to do, because often they are not the ones that will make the most value from it. What I think we should do is get a mix of people from different levels. I want a leader, I want a doer, I want a reviewer, I want an admin person, I want people who do different things. And then I want to regularly catch up with them and see how they're using it and how it impacts their work. So, for example, people in admin, anyone who deals with a lot of email and a lot of calendar benefits from that Copilot for Microsoft 365 additional license. Why? Because you can ask it, what's outstanding in my email? It's the end of the day. What did I miss? What's urgent? And it will tell you. That is a lot of help. You can ask it every morning. You can schedule tasks there when you have the paid extra. And so you can ask it every morning, I need you to prepare me a brief for the day. For every client I'm meeting today, I want to know 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it will tell. So these are tasks that you cannot do with basic one, with the included one, and they're so worth it. Anyone who does research. So accountants do tax research, and lawyers do law research, and medical people do medical research. Not research in the lab, but research when you need to research the web and find information. The deep research option, which is in Microsoft Copilot called Researcher, is so loved. It's fantastic. And you get it right now. It's in that additional Microsoft 365, Copilot for Microsoft 365 license. Maybe they'll bring it into the included one. I don't know. That alone is totally worth it for anyone who even does research on comparing options, what to buy, and research on your clients, research on yourself, on your position in the market. Deep research is a huge capability that all AI apps have. Right now, the included version of Copilot doesn't have it. The Copilot for 365 does have it. So for that, it's definitely, even if just for that, it's worth it. So I suggest to take, if you're a larger business and you're not going to give it to everyone right away until you're convinced, get people from different roles, give them the license, get them started so they actually use it, and get them to convene every week, every couple of weeks to share what they're doing with it. And then they'll give you a recommendation whether it's going to help their partner, their peers or not.
Okay. No, I agree with you. Deep research is a really valuable tool. I've used that a lot on ChatGPT and even Gemini. So that would be one reason to upgrade. But is there a Copilot app? Because the other thing I've found is just by having AI on your mobile, you tend to use it more often. Does Copilot provide a mobile app similar to
Yeah.
ChatGPT?
So Copilot has two mobile apps. One is called Copilot. The other one is called Copilot M365. So the two levels. One is just the normal Copilot. The other is the Copilot for Microsoft 365 if you bought the extra license. They are probably right now not as good as your ChatGPT app. They're just not as good. They don't have all the functionality. The voice is very limited. Not as good, but they're there and they're becoming better. There's also a desktop Copilot app where they recently introduced Copilot Vision. And Copilot Vision is where I can share a screen, any screen that's open on my desktop or in a browser. I can share it with Copilot on the desktop so it can see my screen, and then I can talk to it about it with voice. I can say, hey, do you see this document? What does it mean when they use this term? And what do I do with that? And what do you suggest I do in that paragraph? And why is that menu item grayed out? And where do I find a balance sheet in this app? And it will literally go and circle on the screen and say, you should click here. It doesn't yet interact with the apps for me, but the only interaction right now is that it highlights and says, click here, do that. I'm sure it will get to that point as well, that it will interact with the screen. I don't see many people using a lot of Copilot on the desktop or a lot of Copilot on the phone. Even Copilot in the apps in Excel, Word, etc., is not as good as Copilot Chat in the browser. That's where we get the best Copilot. I want to touch on why that is, and also how to choose between Copilot and ChatGPT. Would you like to go there?
Yeah, I just want to close off on Copilot just from a really practical point of view. So I think what you're suggesting is actually a very similar way to how I use ChatGPT. I just have a tab, a pinned tab in Chrome that I have ChatGPT open, and it's always there, and I'm always using it within the browser.
That's it.
And you would do exactly the same for Copilot as long as you're logged in. If you're
With your
working for a
business account.
business and you log in with your business email address, the same one you use to log into Outlook, you would just open a tab, get it set up and save it in a tab. And effectively, you've got a workspace there that can work pretty much the same as ChatGPT. From what you've said, the key benefits of Copilot are the security and also the integration across your other Microsoft services. So it's all in the one place. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Have I missed anything there?
In terms of security, I just want to make it very clear that and integration, in terms of access to your apps. When we talk about Copilot Chat in the browser, if you're in the included version, it doesn't see your files automatically. You need to upload them. If you're in the extra Copilot for Microsoft 365 license, you can just mention any file, mention any person. It knows all your info. It's already connected to your Office. So that's a difference.
So it makes sense. It's automatically
but the difference
connected.
between uploading a file to a document, a client document, to Copilot Chat and uploading it to ChatGPT is that when I upload it to Copilot Chat, I didn't share it now with anyone new. It was already in my Microsoft environment, and I'm uploading it to another area of my Microsoft environment. When I upload it to ChatGPT, I'm now sharing it with OpenAI as well. If I have it all ticked correctly, they're not going to train on my data, but still, I put it in another new place.
Yeah. And especially if you're relying on staff, I can see how they're controlling that. So let's talk about ChatGPT Business, because clearly a lot of businesses are still choosing that option. So when would it make sense? What are some of the advantages of ChatGPT Business?
Yeah. So ChatGPT Business, which used to be called ChatGPT Teams, and now it's Business, but it's the same thing, is an excellent choice. It's an excellent option. Until early 2025, businesses that asked me which way to go, and they were, say, up to the 70 or 100 stuff, not more than that, we had a hard choice to make, and we often go with ChatGPT because Copilot was just not good enough. It was very slow. it was not as smart. It was a bit dumb. It was using an older AI model than what ChatGPT is using. And so we would struggle to get adoption, and businesses that opted to go with Copilot over ChatGPT until early 2025 struggled with adoption. People said, yeah, I tried it. I'm still waiting for a response. I went to ChatGPT, got my answer, and I moved on. So it was just not good enough. A few months ago, I'd say mid-late 2025, they introduced GPT-5. And GPT-5 is the latest AI model out of OpenAI that when it was released into OpenAI ChatGPT and into Microsoft Copilot on the same day. And so now when I'm in Copilot, and not in all the areas of Copilot, but definitely in Copilot Chat, I can turn on GPT-5. Right now, I still have to, or in December 2025, I still have to do it manually every chat. I'm sure that very soon it will become the default. So that means that I have access to an engine or an AI that is as smart inside Copilot. And in that point, I think that it's a no-brainer to opt for Copilot. So it's as smart. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles. OpenAI, ChatGPT often release new functionality and capabilities before Copilot does. They're not exactly the same, but the gap now is so much smaller. And Copilot now is good enough. It's actually good. People that were very reluctant to use it in the past, when you get them in a room, and I get them in a room and I go, come on, let's do this. Let's try it again. They go, oh, right. And they really start enjoying using it. So right now, if you're running a team and you're concerned about data confidentiality, I say go Copilot. It's just a no-brainer because it's in the same environment. You don't need to worry about turning off an account on ChatGPT if someone leaves the business and still has access to that. You don't have to worry about where people upload what. It's in your environment. It's a no-brainer. I also say, so I say Copilot for everyone in the business. I also say that if you have a staff member that comes and says, hey, but I need ChatGPT or I need Claude or Perplexity because the kind of work that I do, it's so much better to do there. Buy that for them. Absolutely. But for your standard tool that you give everyone, if you're a Microsoft business, you can start using Copilot safely. It's a good option now.
Okay, that's really good to hear. And clearly this is the thing, everything's changing so quickly. So that's up to date. That's probably a good place to start 2026 is that Copilot is now close enough. And for all the reasons you mentioned, I think for most businesses, it makes sense to go with the platform you're on. The same pattern has happened with Google this year, definitely 2025. I've seen at the start of the year, there were a lot of people were still not really using Gemini. It was still a bit clunky, and already now it's become a no-brainer if you're on the Google
amazing. Gemini is so good now.
For the same reason. So yeah, ChatGPT is probably going to struggle a bit, I think, to get into those established enterprises.
It's a really interesting space because what ChatGPT recently released is chats. That's so confusing because we've been having chats with AI all the time. But now you and I, if we're in the same team, can have a chat inside ChatGPT and bring ChatGPT is with us there. So you can do that in Copilot already. So if we're in a Microsoft environment and you and I chat on Teams, which is the messaging app inside the Microsoft environment, we can mention Copilot. It's with us. We can get it to do things. We can build little agents that are just, AI with a certain prompt that gives it personality and include them in our chats and then mention them when we need them to jump in and do a thing as part of the chat you and I are having in a group chat. So now ChatGPT has introduced group chats where multiple users can be in the chat and ChatGPT is there with us. They also have now shared projects. So you and I can have a project together in ChatGPT, assuming we're in the same team, and we can see each other's chats. And I can continue your chat, and you can continue my chat. This is not available yet in Copilot, but everyone is racing to become that app that will be our main one that we use for business every day.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And unless you absolutely want to be at the bleeding edge, it's only a few months later and those features will come in. From what you've said, the big change is that you can actually use the exact same reasoning model, version 5, within Copilot. So once you're actually in your Chat GPT or your Copilot window and you're asking questions and you're going back and forth and you're using it in all the different use cases I cover on this show, effectively you'll be getting the same answers and the same quality of LLM Yeah.
Yeah, same quality of LLM, the same level of reasoning. So obviously now, ChatGPT now released 5.1. I don't have that in Copilot. But as you said, we're talking weeks and months. We're not talking years. It's not like
Yeah.
you're taking something that's... So yeah, on a Microsoft platform, you're always going to be a few months behind ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But in a business environment, that is okay. And now
Yeah.
it's good enough. It's past that line and it's usable and it brings a level of joy.
Yeah, and you can see the trajectory, I think, is that ChatGPT had the first mover advantage. So they were, a year ahead of everyone else, really.
Mhm.
But now Google has very much caught up in terms of their functionality, and sounds like Microsoft are doing the same. So most businesses are either going to have a Google workspace or a Microsoft 365. That's probably going to be the default for a lot of businesses. It's really
We are
interesting space.
hearing we are hearing that OpenAI is developing their own office environments.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Let's
it's a
see
very
what
strange,
2026 brings.
it's a strange relationship, isn't it? Because, of course, Microsoft are actually the major shareholder of OpenAI. I think they've got 27% of OpenAI.
Mhm.
But it seems to be changing a bit. They're now doing deals with Anthropic. So Microsoft are clearly sort of hedging their bets a bit more, or trying not to
Yep.
be locked in. And at the same time, OpenAI are basically trying to be Microsoft, trying to be Google, trying to be everything for everyone.
It's a very interesting
It's-
space.
it is. Okay. Well, you've convinced me around Copilot. That's really,
Good.
it's obviously changed from even earlier in the year when I was sort of looking in that
Yeah.
space. And I found there wasn't actually a lot of information out there. All the tutorials I find on YouTube are either for, most of them are for ChatGPT or the power users who are using Claude or Gemini. There wasn't actually a lot of useful information out there saying how Copilot actually works on a day-to-day basis. So
Yeah.
how do you're obviously, I would classify you as a power user. So what tools are you using? How do you sort of manage your workflow between the different AI models yourself?
Well, that's a big question for the few minutes we have left. Well, I have paid accounts with most of them. So with Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and Claude. I'm just spoiled. And I love that. I explain that, I rationalize that by saying, well, for what I do, I need to be across the capabilities. But what I find is that I like them for different things. I'll jump between them all day, every day, because there are different things I'll do with each one. With ChatGPT, I enjoy so much the memory function. So it knows me so well now that I barely need to give it any context, and it works amazingly. With Claude, I think is smarter. It gives me better answers when I want real deep analysis. When I want real thoughtful answers, I go to Claude. With Copilot, I obviously enjoy the integration because I run my business on Microsoft. So I love that I can never use search again. I don't need to find a file. I can find the answer from the file by just going Copilot. What da 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 da? Just ask a question, and it will look through my entire world and find me the answer. I love that. With Perplexity, I really enjoy now Comet, their AI powered browser, and I live inside Comet now. So Comet is a browser. It has a side panel assistant on the side, an assistant that lives in a side panel on the side of the browser that sees everything I'm doing. So I don't need to copy paste into ChatGPT. I can just be on a page and open Assistant on the side and ask a question about my page, or ask it to copy something from that page, or ask it to explain something from that page, or to open new, it's agentic, it can do things. So I can ask it to open new tabs, to find me 3 options for something and open them in different tabs while I'm doing something else, to start reconciling my accounting file. It can do things for me. There are security things to be aware of there, but I pay for Perplexity because I love that capability. The other tool that I enjoy immensely now is Notion AI. Notion is a tool that many of us have been using for many years. It's not new. It's a wiki style tool where you can manage your world. So have pages and pages of information about my projects or and it has extremely powerful AI built in. It's the most powerful one that I've experienced so far. I can talk to it about my pages. I can get it to write pages. I can get it to fill up databases, research the web and fill my databases. It literally works with me. It's like having an assistant. I have human assistants as well. And things that I would in the past go, hey, can you go and find me all the blind, put them in a table for me here? Do you see this list I have here? Can you add the link for each one of them? All of those, I now ask the AI to to do for me inside Notion. And my team does the same. They use AI to complete all of these kind of tasks. So probably they are the biggest ones that I use every day, all day, that are always open on my screen.
Yep. No, then that's a good way to look at it. You've got different use cases. You're using the best model, and that is a world we may end up in where, just like you have different staff who have different personalities and are good at different things,
Yeah.
these LLMs they effectively have personalities and different types of intelligence. So to be able to plug into them, you are fortunate. That's obviously harder to manage in a large enterprise.
It's not what I'm
So it's,
suggesting
yeah,
enterprises do. So if you're a larger enterprise, or even if you're a slightly larger team, but you're not into this is not where you spend your time and you need to focus on your work. For me, this is my work. That's where I focus my time. But if that's not where you focus your time, you just need one tool that will work really well for you. And sometimes if that tool is your Copilot, I do see that then sometimes people will also have a Chat GPT on the side, for example, because it will give them things that Copilot doesn't. For example, amazing voice mode to talk to when I'm driving.
Yep. No, that's pretty clear, Inbal. That's given the exact answer that I was looking for, which is in the majority of cases, it's going to make most sense to go with Microsoft if you're already on that platform, and then and you use that as your default for all staff. So you can start saying, here you go. We want you all to be using it. We've given you the tools. You can use it safely. Obviously, you need to provide training to go along with that, but at least you're giving them all the tool. I was a bit worried about that cultural element where people say, oh, I prefer ChatGPT, and they're just using it on their phone anyway. But from what you've said, if you can get them in a room and get them to try Copilot, they'll see that it's as good as
And so the big
ChatGPT.
message there absolutely is for those of us on Microsoft, at least get your people started with Copilot Chat that's already included in your business environment. And then the instruction to them is, yeah, you can use any AI that you want. You want to use ChatGPT, do that. Anything client information, anything confidential information, anything that involves things that we wouldn't put online on the web, use Copilot in the Copilot Chat logged in with your business environment for that.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you're still allowing staff to have their own
Absolutely.
personal license of ChatGPT that
Because
they can
what do
use
we
for...
want? We want people still to develop their AI skills. Copilot doesn't have everything. So if you can do better research with Perplexity, do that. Why not? Use all the tools out there. Anything confidential, anything client information, anything business confidential, use Copilot for that. Anything that we want reusable. So if you've built a fantastic prompt that helps us do whatever report every week, you want to share it with your peers, let's do that in Copilot because it makes it so easy to share it with everyone so they see it inside their Copilot. So things that are confidential and things that we want to build into our workflow and share with our teams, let's bring that into Microsoft. But why not? Yeah, use all the tools out there as long as you use things safely. If you're doing research, general research, Perplexity is your best friend. Why not? If you want to do voice mode, ChatGPT is your best friend. If you want to go learn a new topic, Notebook LM is your best friend. Do those things.
Okay, that's great advice. Thanks, Inbal. So thank you so much. As I say, it's been a busy year for you. What for those who want to know a bit more about you, what sort of clients are you working with? What's your niche, and how can people get in touch with you?
So I do two things. I do a lot of public speaking. So if you're organizing events, conferences, or whatever that may be, I do a lot of keynote speaking, primarily in professional services, but branching out into all sorts of businesses now. I'm doing a small business conference next year in February, optometry, health, a lot of accounting, a lot of law, a lot of financial planning, professional services. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is that I do run AI kickstarting plans, programs inside firms, inside businesses, where I come in and get you started with leadership alignment, informing your leaders, answering their questions like we've just done today, creating a good enabling but safe AI policy, selecting your tools, offering training, and getting you started.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show again, Inbal, and good luck with the remainder of the year.
Pleasure. Thank you. Same for you.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Inbal Rodnay. I'll put links to her details in the show notes. I think that was a real eye-opener for me. I didn't realize how far Copilot had come. And as Inbal says, it really is almost a no-brainer for most businesses using Microsoft now. And that little tip she gave, I think most people are just not aware of that you've actually got a version of Copilot included with your Microsoft license just by opening the tab and logging in there. For a lot of people, you don't have to be paying the extra $30 or $40 a month, and you can start using Copilot now and test it out. I'll certainly be doing that. and I'll be interested to see how it compares. As Inbal says, for most people, that's going to be the right tool. And then for specific use cases, you can look at whatever the right tool is for that use case. Thank you. Hope you found that useful. Thank you for joining me on this journey to learn more about AI. If you're enjoying this show, if you're getting value from it, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening to this, and put your comments below, because I love to hear your comments and I do reply to all of them. So thank you for those who are leaving comments. We're almost at the end of the year now. It's been a journey I've been on this year to master AI, and thank you for joining me on that journey. I'm Scott Davison, and this is my way or the AI way.